Building apps in 2025 is way easier than it's ever been. You've probably heard of that, but you've got to know how to do it. Most people still think that you need to be some sort of hardcore developer and it's going to cost you 50 grand to do it, but it's going to cost you much less. And I have an agency where we build them. We build them every week. There's a whole team of us. And I think sometimes people think we're joking when we say that we can build it in 7 days. And so I'm going to show you an example today of how I build an app. Let's get right to it. So we're going to build an app in real time on easy mode. Just to be clear, it's going to be a teleprompter app. As you can see, the name is called teleprompter, and that's because there's a bunch of apps on the App Store already, but they cost a lot of money for something that's quite simple, just to record your phone and see the text. And I need to record more short form content for my other apps and other projects and businesses that I have. And so figured I'd make a free one and we'll go from there. I think I can make it really quickly. So that's what we're doing. And I'm still going to follow the experiences and the best practices that I have when it comes to this. The only difference is that I'm not going to start from nothing. What I am going to do is I'm going to start using what I have built personally, because I build so many of these as part of the agency. We have what's called the Ship Yesterday kit, and that's going to just get me off the board much quicker. There's no need to be messing around with a bunch of installs. So we've got this here. I'm literally just going to install the kit, and after a few seconds that should be done and we can get started. So let's have a look at where we are at with this. I'm just going to run the project and we can see where we're starting from. If you're new to development, this can seem kind of overwhelming. I'm in an IDE called Cursor. I've been a developer for 10 years, so these things are almost second nature, and I will probably be doing things that a newer developer would not really understand, or somebody who's new to building apps, and it may seem a little overwhelming at first, but I'm sure you would be able to figure it out using some AI tool or even Google, if you still use that. And if not, I've got a group where I'm involved in that group and a bunch of other people as well who occasionally message each other. And yeah, we're happy to help you out. It's very friendly. The link is in the description below. So while this all installs, when you build your app, you're going to need to pick a problem that's probably more relevant to you. It could be something that you know, just an idea that you have. You're going to want to validate that idea first. I've got other videos on that, but you also could be building a tool just for some experience. It could be a small tool that you've already seen other competitors do and you want to do a different version, cheaper version, faster, but for a specific niche, for this other target audience. That works as well. Or it could just be an internal app that you want to build. All of these are very valid reasons. But what's important across all of these things is that you want to get really quickly to the purpose of the app. So you're going to see when we build this, we're not going to be confusing the user. We're going to go from A to B, which is the onboarding, explain exactly how to use it and what's going on and who this is for and how it helps. And then right away, there's a big button that does the thing that we will then show the user, oh, right, I get it. This is how it works. So let's get into that. So let's summarize what we're building. We're basically building a minimal teleprompter app. You know, when you're giving a speech or something and you have the text just above the camera so that it looks like you're looking to the camera, but actually you're reading or getting some notes or some inspiration from what it is that you're reading. Because my video editor told me that I was like looking down and reading and it was difficult to edit. And if I'm doing it on my phone, it's very difficult to align my phone with the script or the things that I want to say or some notes. And for some reason, iOS does not let you do a split screen, which is quite crazy. So yeah, the kit I'm going to use is one that we built inside the agency. As I mentioned, it's called Ship Yesterday, and it's just going to give me a massive advantage. I'm going to be starting with onboarding. I can start with authentication, but I don't need that for this particular example because we're shipping quickly and it's just a personal app for me. Maybe I'll share it later. You get a really clean mobile layout, a place to explain what the app does, and then just straight into the content or the main feature of the app. So let's break it down. We're going to need to run the install. Let's get to it. Bring up my terminal. New project. Yeah, got to give it a name. So we'll call this teleprompter app. And now it's going to set up the new project in a different repository. We can just go back and we can use that. Okay, so the install is completed. Let's jump into the new repository. So I think I'm going to call it teleprompter. Let's open that up. And we're done with Ship Yesterday. That's just a boilerplate for now. So yeah, we've got our blank slate. Let's get things running so you can see where we are. 10 p.m. Maybe we can just run it straight away. It's been a while since I've used this. And just to break down sort of what I think about when I build these apps is you need to get to what I call the aha feature or the aha moment. It's like the purpose of the app as soon as possible, or you need to show what it can do basically immediately. So I'm going to open the app and you're going to see there's a welcome screen. And on that welcome screen, you're going to be able to tell what this app does, because if you can't, then any user, if I ever did offer this as an actual app, they need to know straight away what it's going to do. And then the onboarding can explain how to use it and increase the user's belief that it can actually do the thing that I'm saying it can do, and the possibility that it's going to be better for them. And then the next thing, as soon as they start, is boom, the feature, right? Should be really easy. Okay, so I did actually get some build errors. This is just because some things were not on the right version. You can see, so I checked that Xcode was on the latest version. Then I went to the settings and checked that we had both of these installed, so we're on the latest version. And then I installed also the latest version of the operating system as well, and this is going to give you way less problems. So now let's try again. So whilst this is installing, I'm going to open up the text editor, and we can just start to kind of figure out what it is that we want to add after this is done installing. So this is basically going to be the prompt that we're then going to give to Cursor to adjust the boilerplate, basically to be what we want. Okay, it's actually a bit simpler than I thought. Basically, we're going to have an action button in the bottom right-hand corner after the onboarding. I'm going to see it, I'm going to change it to show camera. And when we click it, it's going to open the camera, and we're going to need an overlay of text on the camera. And I'm going to ask it how I can accomplish that once this is done. So let's just wait for it to finish the first compilation. Once you install, you're basically installing everything to run the app in the simulator. So it takes a bit of time, probably about 10, 15 minutes. Depends how fast your computer is. Okay, so we've got it running. As you can see, we've got a groovy little guy here. He's in there because it looks funny. I don't really know what's going on, but you can replace this with any video that you want. It's just there as a placeholder for now. And this is what you get out of the box when we're working on agency products. So we've got a chart that we can show some sort of difference. This is generally good just to build up a user's belief. I don't want to go too much into marketing psychology because this is just a free app. I'm showing you how quickly you can build it, but in another video, we'll go more into sort of marketing psychology on this stuff. But it's basically just to build up a user's belief or possibility that you can deliver on the thing that you're doing, like a testimonial or like a chart, for example, that says users who use this do this and users who don't do this. But that should be later in the onboarding, really. If you go to the onboarding process data, onboarding steps, there it is. So instead of it appearing first, really should like name. We can change some of these questions to be more specific to what we need. We don't need this. We don't need a sign-in. Let's start recording. We can do this. Teleprompter users save, I don't know, 3 hours per week. Of course, make it actually real, right? Enter your name. How often do you report content? Recording frequency. Next is the recording frequency. So you can see how this is set up. Like, this is how we can build apps really, really quickly because we have the onboarding system set up and we can have very, very specific onboarding. So the first screen goes to the second screen because it's mapping the keys, but based on yes or no answers, you can actually map to different areas. We don't need that. What are you interested in using our app for? Saving scripts, recording videos, both. Maybe we can add another one. Creating scripts. Let's close that for now. Yeah, we don't want that. And you can see how the answer, if it's true, goes to a different option. It's how we can route. You might be familiar with Typeform, also does this sort of routing like this. So get started, enter your name. There we go. Next. I think it's a little bit laggy because of the screen recording. Okay, so we'll spruce up the onboarding, but you can see it looks pretty nice. Don't know why that says both. It says 3 options. Things like that we'll fix later. Yeah, interested in recording videos. Next. Then it tells you a bit of marketing psychology, how you can do it. Next. I guess we've added that again. Because you can see now the chart links to the first name, whereas it should be linking to end. Save. Restart. Name is Tony. Next. Recording videos. Next. Here's how you can save a bunch of time or whatever. Let's start recording. Okay. And so now we've got the main app. Just for development purposes, I've got the reset onboarding there if you want to kind of run through the cycles and change some stuff. But you've got settings. You've got your profile, which you can do if they have auth. We have the home. As you can see, this is just a great place to start from. And we've got the action button, which at present does nothing. So this is the first thing that we're going to do. Remember, we wrote that little prompt from before. We're going to get that back. And just to save on some computational resources, I'm going to stop the server from running. And then let's have a chat. Let's see what it thinks about implementing this. Basically, add a root for the camera screen, open camera on the plus button. So now we can probably switch it to agent mode, as this seems pretty fine. Normally what I would do whenever you're doing like agent mode, if you're familiar with Git, you basically do what's like a save game before the agent runs wild. You want to commit and push your changes to the GitHub repository. And then if anything goes wrong, or it all breaks, or things just kind of don't go the way they're expected, then you can go back. You can jump back to where you previously saved the game. Because it is a game at the end of the day. So, okay, let's implement this. I'm just going to pause it whilst it goes through this because we don't really want to watch me program. Never mind cursor program. So, okay. After a bit of back and forth with the AI, not really too much though. It's pretty simple to do this once this, like I said, this is how you build apps. In 2025, at least, you have quick scaffolds, very good libraries, some form of AI assisted code to basically let you focus on the experience and get things to work. So you need to grant permission. Sometimes when you add new features and functionality to the mobile apps, you need to add permissions, basically. So you don't need to just accept the permissions inside of the app when you're actually building the app. At least for iOS, you have something which is called a plist, P-L-I-S-T, and you need to add that specific permission, which is what it says down here. So I'm going to add that now. I did copy the error. Let's add that in and try again. So I have got cursor here to list out the things that I need to add. It's pretty clear that I got to add this Expo camera here, just like I added Expo router. So let's add this. And then let's also add both of these to the iOS, which we have actually added that already. So we just need to add like the info plist bit. And let's try again. Just by hitting R, the letter R, you can refresh the simulator. So now it has no root named. Just got to go through the errors. Sometimes it's like this. The app is missing this. Let's copy it again. Paste it back. Check again. Got this error. See what it says. Okay, let's try again. There we go. So probably because of the previous build, basically I just had to stop running and run again. Sometimes that kind of rebundles the iOS app. And I think now that we're starting to use the camera and things like this that don't really run so well from my experience on the simulator, I think we're going to have to use like a physical device, plug it in and get it running locally on my iPhone. It's just better to test that. So we'll get things running. Maybe I'll spend a couple hours debugging this to, show the camera, show the text probably on the home screen, add the script, just copy and paste it as a test, and then pretty close to being done. Okay, so we're back after one day. I spent a couple hours just working on the app to kind of complete the functionality. Or last time you saw the camera wasn't opening, but now we've got it on the device and it's working. So I'll just go through the onboarding. Yep, creating scripts. That's what I want. Next, let's start recording. Enter the app. And so I can get a script here from short form script. Okay, that's a good one. And then paste it here. There it is. If I open this up, grant permission, allow, we've got it working. And that's what this looks like. Hi. And as soon as you start pressing record, then it's going to go through it's going to behave as a teleprompter app, which is great. It makes it easier for me to record my content. And then after you finish completing the recording, it just gets saved to your camera roll and you can post it, schedule it, do whatever you need. Okay, so that's a wrap. The whole app is now basically finished. We've gone from idea to a real working iPhone app in just a couple hours. I know it took me over a couple days in terms of recording, but actually it turns out recording and building mobile apps is actually quite difficult at the same time. There was no massive team. There was no, 3-day operation or anything. It was just knowing what tools to use and how to use them quickly. If you know what you're doing and you avoid kind of general traps and have a really good foundation, you can get really far really quickly. So the alternative for me was to buy one of these teleprompter apps that exists already for $5 a month, $10 a month, but there's not really much fun in that. I can't change it. I can't do what I want. And now I can make it work exactly how I want with the functionality that I want. And it's just easier and faster than it's ever been. If you liked this sort of content, I can try and do more of it, more sort of live builds and more showcases of behind the agency of what it looks like when we're working together as a team to build more apps. And we build the apps once or twice every single week now. And we want to try and actually get that output up. But thanks for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.